Hello guys, welcome to Easy Learning. In our last video, we studied about what to produce and the basic problems of an economy. In this video, we'll study about how to produce. So, um, so so let's start. So what happened in what to produce means we have 10 crore. Okay, we have distributed it either for defense purpose or for rice purpose or both the purpose also. So we studied that it depends on the economy and forces of demand and supply. The same thing applies here also. Here we need some technique to produce defense and rice, right? So here the problem of how to produce is problem of relating to the choice of technology. See, we can produce defense by also labor or capital intensive. We can use machines or we can use human labors also. So it is a crucial issue in in all the eco- in all the economics. There are two types of techniques of production, that is labor intensive technique and capital intensive technique. So what does labor intensive technique mean? Labor intensive technique in which more labor is used in production than capital. See, the important point is that we must note that there are two types of technique, that is labor intensive and capital intensive. So now let us understand what is labor intensive and capital intensive. If your economy a centrally planned economy, which means fully the country is controlled by the government, then government will not let down the human power, that is labor technique. They will distribute the work among humans only, that is they will use labor intensive technique. So now if the economy is market economy, that is it depends on the supply and demand, that is on the forces of demand and supply, then they will go to capital intensive technique. If it is a mixed economy where all private and government goes hand in hand, then they will use labor intensive technique and capital intensive technique. So the choice between the two techniques becomes a problem because the two techniques lead to conflicting results. So it becomes a problem, right? So what to how to do, like whom to choose, whether to labor or for capital intensive. So what will they do? The former technique generates more employment opportunity. Obviously when you use labor intensive technique, it will generate employment, right, among our people, right? So if we give the efficiency for capital intensive technique, so if we use more and more machines, people won't get job, their jobs will be cut off, right? So now what happens, and the later raises efficiency. So the human beings, the labors, their employment opportunity increases and also their efficiency will increase. For example, cloth can be manufactured in large quantities by power looms or in cottage industries by hand looms. So it depends on how you want to produce this, like it totally depends on the economic planners. Similarly, irrigation can be done by either minor or major irrigation projects. Obviously, this is the problem of choice making techniques. Thus, a society has to choose the right technique for production between the two techniques depending on the resources and requirement. Obviously, if we have more unemployed, we have to go to the labor technique so that we can create employment opportunity, right? So we can remove the unemployment problem also. If we have more capital intensive technique and very like we have to save those resources, means we'll go for the capital intensive technique. Each economy has to use combination of resources, namely land, labor and capital. Obviously, we cannot go to the only one technique, that is capital technique or labor intensive technique. We have to produce the goods in at the time when we need, right? So only the Both capital intensive technique and labor intensive technique must go hand in hand. We should not ignore, we should not concentrate only on one technique. So each economy has to use the combination of resources, namely land, labor, and capital, in different proportion to produce efficiently. The same way, we also need to improve the employment opportunity, and we also want the production at in the time before we reach into the scarcity, right? So next point, what is that? The combination of resources also depend used also depend upon the level of technology knowledge available in the country. So it also depends on the technology of the country also. See, in the country we have good technology, we have more capital intensive machines, then obviously we'll go for the at least we'll take like 40% like capital intensive, sorry, 40% of labor intensive method and 60% of capital intensive method. So to maintain the employment opportunity and also to produce the goods within the time. If the availability of technology and capital is high, then more capital and less labor may be used. See, we have more capital and more technology also. Obviously, we'll go for more capital intensive method, and so for less labor intensive method. Similarly, if the availability of labor is more, we have more labors and very less resources of capital intensive, then we'll go for labor intensive method. So this depends upon the economy of the country, how the demand and supply is going on in the country. It depends on what type of market forces are there, what kind of economy is there. So I hope you have understood basic problem of economy. Second one, that is how to produce. In our next video, we shall learn about for whom to produce. For more such videos, like do subscribe to my channel.